Look at that beautiful scene right there. You see it? It's TD Bank Garden, but it's a parquet floor down there. That means it's the finals, y'all. That means it's the finals. That's what it's here. That's what it's all about. We got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about, damn it. WNBA, NFL, NBA. I'm talking, you got actors complaining for crying out loud. But nothing eclipses the NBA finals. Boston, Dallas, Tatum, Luka, Jaylen Brown, Kyrie Irving. Oh, my Lord is here, and I'm in the house. Holla at your boy. Whoa! What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you at the very least 3 times a week over the digital airwaves of YouTube and, of course, iHeartRadio. Let me not forget that I'm in my studios. I'm back home in my comfort zone. You know what I'm saying? This is what it's like. This is how you're feeling when the NBA Finals, the eve of the NBA Finals has arrived. By the way, before I get into anything else that I want to say, let me take a moment to express my love, my appreciation to all of my supporters and followers. We continue to climb. We've now exceeded over 696,000 subscribers, vastly approaching 700,000 subscribers. Can't thank y'all enough for the love and support. Keep it coming, and I'm going to keep on coming. To continue to like and follow the Stephen A. Smith Show right here on YouTube, just click the bell to get notified for all of our new content, and bam, you will be the latest member of the Stephen A. Smith Show family. And again, iHeartRadio for all of you audio folks out there driving in your cars, listening to the radio, all of that other stuff. Yes, we all over iHeartRadio as well. While you're doing all of that, listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show, please don't forget to pick up a copy of my New York Times best-selling book, Straight Shooter, a memoir of second chances and first takes, now in paperback. Just go to straightshooterbook.com to get yourself a copy. Once again, that's straightshooterbook.com. Since I am in studio, I'll be taking your calls near the end of the show, so feel free to hit me up for some advice at 888-727-5303. That's 888-SAS-5303. Now let's get to some NBA stuff, because you know I got to start off the show there, right? We got to get to the NBA Finals. It's starting tomorrow night in Boston between the Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks. The series features a trip down memory lane for 2 players, Kyrie Irving of the Mavericks and Kristaps Porzingis of the Celtics. While the Mavs had a talented roster, Kristaps Porzingis and Luka Doncic were unable to get out of the first round during their short stint as teammates. Yesterday, Porzingis met with the media and said he's looking forward to going up against his old team. As for Kyrie, he shouldn't expect a warm welcome in Boston tomorrow night, to say the least, after 2 tumultuous seasons where critics say he lacked leadership. And that was the kind variety of insults they've thrown in his direction. You may recall Kyrie told Celtics fans he was committed to staying in Boston only to sign with the Brooklyn Nets months later, right? You may recall he stomped his foot on the parquet floor on the leprechaun and all of that stuff. Remember all of that? Flipped the bird to the fans. All of this stuff has happened. Respectfully, I don't give a damn about any of that. That Kyrie Irving is gone. This Kyrie Irving is the one that's worth talking about. The guy that's been a superstar, the guy that has closed the deal, the guy that has exhibited leadership for the Dallas Mavericks, who the players find themselves incredibly deferential to. And by the way, he's the one champion on the Dallas Mavericks. It ain't Luka that's got a championship ring. It ain't Lively that's got a championship ring. It ain't Gafford or Derrick Jones or P.J. Washington that has a championship ring, okay? It's him. Now, I understand that Jason Kidd has a championship ring as a player for the Dallas Mavs, by the way, back in 2011. We get all of that. We understand that. I understand that Jason Kidd is looking for one as a coach because we know how exceptional of a coach that he is. But to me, Kyrie's going to be pivotal in this series. You've got to be able to score the ball against Boston. Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jason Tatum, and, of course, if Porzingis comes back, it makes for very interesting. Nobody is doubting that the Boston Celtics have the best starting 5 in basketball. Nobody is doubting that the Boston Celtics should be favorites. Nobody is doubting that the Boston Celtics, when you look at them, assuming Porzingis is healthy, should win this series. But I'm of the mindset, I don't give a damn about that either. I'm looking at the 20 points of 51.6% shooting, 7.2 rebounds, 2 assists, nearly 2 blocks per game from Porzingis. The brother ain't played since the end of April. And oh, by the way, let me throw out a couple of nuggets for y'all just to take into consideration. He's 7'3". He can shoot the 3. He can block shots. that makes things very formidable, that makes the Boston Celtics very formidable. I can't deny that. If you're Luka Doncic and you in the lane, it's not as easy to just keep somebody on your hip, wondering whether a big man's going to come and help or whether he's going to lay back to prevent one of those alley-oops. Those are all things you got to watch out for with Luka and the Dallas Mavericks. And if Porzingis is in the lineup, that makes things considerably easier for the Boston Celtics as opposed to Porzingis being gone and Al Horford being the one in that lineup. Because I don't trust Boston's bench personally. It's their starting five that's elite. I don't trust their bench. But I bring this up to say this to y'all. Have we been watching the Dallas Mavericks? Have we been watching the Dallas Mavericks? Now, I know some people are going to look at me and they're going to talk to my prediction. They're going to say, what the hell does he know? He's wrong all the time about the prediction. Actually, I've got the last 2 or 3 NBA finals correct. I went through a bad stretch there about 5 or 6 years where, stimulus packages were given to LeBron James by the NBA and stuff like that, or injuries took place with Golden State and Kevin Durant goes down with the Achilles injury, because we all know I would have been right about that series. These are the kind of things that happen. But in the end, I've been pretty much right. I picked Golden State to beat Boston. I picked Denver to beat Miami. You understand what I'm saying? I picked the Lakers to beat Miami. I'm not completely dumb, deaf, and blind. I get it right a lot of times. And here's what I'm going to tell you today. I got the Dallas Mavericks pulling the upset and winning this series. I don't like them in a Game 7 in Boston. I like them in 6 in Dallas. Could they win a Game 7 in Boston? Sure. Could they lose in 7? Yes, they could. But the greatness of Luka Doncic is something I think we got to be prepared to behold. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are going to have to step up and bring it to another level. There's no question about that. Kyrie Irving and his greatness, I think, will come shining through. I'm thinking about P.J. Washington and Derek White. And I'm like, if those brothers are hitting threes, Boston is not going to beat the Dallas Mavericks. And when it comes to Porzingis, here's my issue with Porzingis. 2 things. Number one, he's not healthy. They say that the calf injury he suffered is similar to what KD, Kevin Durant, suffered in the playoffs before sitting out and then coming back for the finals, and then after that, he tore his Achilles. They talk about being fearful that that could happen to Porzingis, number one. Number two, they say he's not 100% healthy. He hasn't played in more than a month. So the way that I look at it, I'm like, okay, he's not 100%. But Boston is kind of weak in the pick and roll defensively. And on top of it all, Porzingis, his lateral movement was never good when he was healthy. So what the hell is it going to be now? I'm thinking about those things. If Porzingis is 100% healthy, I pick Boston to win this series. But I think the fact that his health is compromised and I don't expect him to be anywhere near 100%, I think that spells trouble for Boston. And the combination of that with Kyrie and Luka coming, I'm of the mindset that Dallas can win this series. A part of me would be happy about that, even for Kyrie Irving. Yes, it's true. Definitely for Jason Kidd. Yes, it's true. But I don't root against Jason Tatum. I'm a fan of Jason Tatum, love Jason Tatum. But I'm just of the mindset that what I'm seeing from Luka and what I'm seeing from Kyrie and what I'm seeing from a series, okay, when they go up against OKC and then they go up against the Minnesota Timberwolves, what I'm seeing from that standpoint, I cannot ignore. And because I can't ignore that, and I think that Porzingis' health is compromised, I'm going to pick Dallas to win this series. Now, obviously, all of that goes out the window if Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown explode and play like the $300 million player one already is and another is soon to be. But it remains to be seen. It remains to be seen. I want to look over here right now and get to my next subject, because the next subject is LeBron James. I don't know if you heard, but he recently made comments about Kyrie Irving on the latest episode of his Mind the Game podcast, co-hosted with J.J. Redick, the dude that's soon to be the head coach for the Los Angeles Lakers, if the reports have any validity to it, which they do, by the way. LeBron James spoke about his time with Kyrie as a teammate in Cleveland when they won a championship. Listen here to what he had to say.
I will call Kyrie the wizard all the time. Like, all the time. Like, there was nothing on the basketball floor that Kyrie couldn't do. And sitting here watching it, I'm playing like so fucking happy and so proud and to watch him and continue his growth or whatever the case may be. And at the same time, I'm so fucking mad at the same time that I am not his running mate anymore. So I'm like, I just remember those times. I have so many words to praise Kyrie that I end up with absolutely none because it's so, he's the most gifted player the NBA has ever seen. He has the best gifts I've ever seen of any NBA player.
You know something? LeBron makes a legitimate case there. When you watch Kyrie Irving drive to the basket and finish a shot, changing hands in midair, on a fast break against the Clippers in the first round, and just waited for a brother to come in and try to block a shot, and he laid it like this and then switched hands in the air and just laid it that way. The presence, the brilliance, the majesty that he exhibits on the offensive side of the ball, I don't think we can dismiss any longer that Kyrie Irving very well may be the most gifted basketball player we've ever seen. He's just that surreal and that spectacular of a talent. So I take no issue with what LeBron James said. I just think it needs to be crystallized a bit better. Yeah, he is so fucking mad that he's not his running mate anymore. I would be too if I had to settle for D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves. Hell yeah, you're damn right he's pissed. It makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. Ain't nothing wrong with LeBron saying that, because it's the truth. It's the truth. My nephew Josh in here. Am I lying? No. Speak up louder. Am I lying? No. He's damn right I'm not lying. It's the truth. Okay? At Saturday Night Live, when they mimicked Shannon Sharpe and Cat Williams, said, "It's the truth, Shannon. Yes, it's the truth." This is what Kyrie Irving means. Could you imagine if Kyrie Irving was with LeBron James in a Los Angeles Lakers uniform and Anthony Davis was in the middle? The Lakers would be in the finals right now, not Dallas. Did I stutter? Did I stutter? No. Hell yeah. Lakers would be in the finals. But you can't get Kyrie. Can't get him. Can't get him. So because of that, he's on the Dallas Mavericks squad. Here's the only thing, and again, I took no issue with what LeBron James said because I think LeBron James is on the money. And LeBron James has forgotten more basketball than most humans would know. So this is a savant we're talking about here. Here's where I would challenge LeBron, though. If LeBron had said Kyrie Irving is the greatest teammate he ever had, we'd have a problem. Because what we're not going to do, not on this show, is forget Dwayne Wade. You remember how spectacular Dwayne Wade was? In the NBA Finals when they played against Dallas, it was LeBron James that didn't show up in the fourth quarter of those games, being guarded by J.J. Barea and Jason Terry. That's LeBron James. That wasn't on D. Wade. It was D. Wade that sat by LeBron James' side all of those years. The first year, rather. Every single press conference. That was D. Wade. That was D. Wade. Let's be very clear about that. It was D. Wade that basically helped teach LeBron how to win, because D. Wade had a championship when he averaged 37 over the last 4 games and overcoming an 0-2 deficit against the Dallas Mavericks in 2006, and ultimately won that 4th championship for Shaquille O'Neal. That D. Wade, the Hall of Famer D. Wade, somebody universally recognized as one of the top 3 to 5 shooting guards in the history of basketball. That D. Wade. Now, this is not trying to sit up there and say D. Wade was more talented than Kyrie Irving. D. Wade couldn't shoot threes like Kyrie Irving. D. Wade didn't have a handle like Kyrie Irving. But let me make sure you understand something. Although Kyrie couldn't defend like D. Wade, let me make sure you understand something. Don't look at LeBron James with Kyrie Irving when they won the title against Golden State, overcoming a 3-1 deficit when Commissioner Adam Silver gave LeBron James that damn stimulus package by suspending, ultimately leading to getting the tech and ultimately leading to a suspension for Draymond Green in that Game 5 where Andre Iguodala and Andrew Bogut get hurt. And then after that, they're compromised for the rest of the series and the Cleveland Cavaliers overcome a 3-1 deficit. Don't look at that LeBron James. Look at the LeBron James that D. Wade inherited. The LeBron James that was scared to go to the free throw line. LeBron James that was scared to do the wrong thing. That was scared to take the bull by the horn, that didn't have that killer instinct, that didn't have, always great, always phenomenal, always a Hall of Famer. Not trying to imply that, but I'm talking about the man possessed in Boston at TD Bank Garden who dropped 45 and 15 in that Game 6. That dude, he wasn't there that first year in Miami. He wasn't there. And it was Pat Riley showing him them rings. And it was D. Wade letting them know what it took to get those rings. That is the LeBron James that Kyrie Irving never had. Because when Kyrie Irving and LeBron James teamed up, LeBron was already a 2-time champion. D. Wade got him before he had chips. And as a result, helped teach him how to win. To my ignorant, big-headed little nephew. Am I right? No. I'm not right. He's on drugs. I'm getting my nephew drug tested. Something wrong with him. Something wrong with him. That is absolute fact. It can't be disputed. LeBron wasn't a champion when he arrived in Miami. He learned to become a champion because of Miami, because of Riles, because of D. Wade. Remember, LeBron James didn't want Eric Spoelstra. He wanted that man gone. Pat Riley said, hell no. You do know who Eric Spoelstra is, right? A future Hall of Fame coach, universally recognized as one of the greatest coaches in the game today. LeBron didn't want that man. Pat Riley said, hell with that. That man stays. Just a nugget of information in case you didn't know. Coming up, did you hear what James Harden had to say about himself? Oh, wait until you see that. You're going to want to see that. Make no mistake about it. Plus, there was an ejection in the WNBA. I'll get into that as well. Stay right here. More of the Stephen A. Smith Show coming your way in a minute. Okay, everybody, you know what time it is. It's time for Stephen A.'s Weekly Sports Picks. And man, you know how excited I am because I finally can make picks for my favorite time of the year, the NBA Finals. They're here, y'all. They are here. But how am I going to do this, you ask? With Prize Picks, of course. That's right. You see, Prize Picks is a skill-based, real money daily fantasy sports game where you select 2 or more players and predict if they'll have more or less than their stat projections for the game. But it's not just all about the NBA Finals. Oh, no. You can play across any sport you watch, the NBA, the WNBA, the MLB, National Hockey League, tennis, damn it, even MMA, all right? And if you go to prizepicks.com right now and use promo code SAS, you'll receive a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. You heard me. So right now, go to prizepicks.com. Type in my initials, SAS, for a first-time deposit match up to $100, all right? Now, let's look at my winning picks. Pay attention. Pay attention. Jason Tatum, more or less than 0.5 points. Really? Must y'all be insulting? What are you trying to say? Why would you do that to Jason Tatum, average 27 points a game? Why would you do that to Jason Tatum, who's one of the greatest Celtics in history? Why would you do that to Jason Tatum, who walks around and could drop 40 in his sleep? Why would you do that? Unless, of course, you're assuming that he's going to get hurt in the first minute of the game like he did in Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. That ain't going to happen, damn it. That's not going to happen. We go with more on this one. Easiest question in the world. We go with more on this one. Next up, the one and only Luka Doncic. More or less than 31.5 points for Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Check this out, y'all. As great as Luka Doncic is, I gotta confess, we have to remember that Boston is a top 2 defense in the league this year. Top 2, top 3 defense in all of the NBA. The brothers can defend. You talk about Jrue Holiday. You talk about Derek White. You're talking about Jason Tatum. You talk about Jaylen Brown. You talk about Kristaps Porzingis, assuming he comes back healthy. You're talking about Al Horford, who's experienced. The brother knows what he's doing. You can't sleep on Boston defensively. Luka gonna get his, no doubt about that. He's averaged 35 and 15 in the couple of games he played against Boston this year. We get that too. But in the end, Does that mean he got to score over 31 in game one? I don't know about that. I could see him scoring 30. I could see him scoring 28. But over 31 and a half points, am I willing to guarantee that he'll do that? The answer would be no. So I'm going to go with less on this one. Less than 31 and a half points. All right, let's go to the next one right now. Mr. Jaylen Brown, the $300 million man himself, more or less than 23 points. Here's my position. He better score more than 23 points. He better score more than, you get $300 million ounce. $300 million ounce. And on top of it all, you in the finals. And this is game one in Boston. We don't know what Tatum do. We know what he can do, but we don't know what he will do. We know what Jaylen Brown has done. Just finished averaging 30 in the Eastern Conference Finals. Why can't you do it in the finals? Why can't you do it in the finals? I'm expecting him to do just that because the brother can ball. So we're going to go with more than 23 points for Jaylen Brown. More. Last but not least, Kyrie Irving. More or less than 24 points. I'm thinking about the ball handling skills. I'm thinking about Boston getting at him. I'm thinking about how Boston got the better of him when he was playing in Brooklyn and he got swept with Kevin Durant as his teammate. I'm thinking about all of those things. And I'm thinking about how that stuff has fomented and how it has swelled and it has got to a point where Kyrie Irving has had a week to sit back and fantasize and think about going to Boston and returning to Boston with a championship on the line. Knowing this city hates him, knowing they're going to come at him, knowing they're going to throw vitriol and venom in every direction that he's in at every possible turn. Are you man enough to handle it, or are you going to be weak and wither beneath the pressure? That ain't Kyrie. Say what you want about the brother, he all world. The handle's nasty. He's got the long range games. He's got the ability to finish at the basket. He's got the mid-range game. He's got it all. And Dallas is dependent on him. This brother can up and elevate his level of play at his discretion. He'll have formidable stuff to deal with these brothers. But do I think he's going to get more than 24 points in this particular game? I think this man going to have more than 24 points in every damn game this series. I'm going with more for Kyrie Irving on this one. So let's go back and revisit this one more time before I let y'all get on out of here. We got, what is it? Jason Tatum, more, half a point. How disrespectful. We got Jaylen Brown, 23 points. More. We got Luka Doncic, less than the 31 and a half. That don't mean he ain't going to have about 15 assists now. There's Gafford up in there. There's Lively up there to throw alley-oops to. There's P.J. Washington and Derrick Jones to kick three-point shots to. He going to have his share of assists now. He might have probably around 28, 29 points and about 15, 16 assists in this game. I say less with the points, though, for Luka Doncic. And last but not least, Kyrie Irving with the 24 points more. More, and less. The vast majority of it is more. It's less with Luka, but only on points. He always provides more when it counts. Listen to your boy talking to you. Kind of know this stuff, you know? Welcome back to Stephen A. Smith Show right here over the digital airwaves of YouTube. Now, look, let's get to the WNBA, where Chicago Sky rookie forward Angel Reese was ejected from the game last night against the New York Liberty after drawing consecutive technical fouls. The ejection happened after Reese was called for her fifth foul and was, quote, disrespectfully addressing, end quote, official Charles Watson. Angel Reese is a rising star in the WNBA, drafted 7th overall by the Sky 2 months ago. On Monday, Reese addressed the media following that controversial technical foul on her teammate, Kennedy Carter, who shoved Caitlin Clark, a move that drew national headlines. Reese made it clear that fans are watching women's basketball not because of, quote, one player, but because of her as well. Today, the WNBA rescinded the second technical upon further review, according to a league source, which does not mean much at this point in my estimation. Let me tell y'all why I'm bringing this up. Over the last few days, the Caitlin Clark situation where Kennedy Carter side hipped her, basically checked her with a, side hip move and whatever, knocking her to the ground. And it was national news because Caitlin Clark has been taking quote unquote abuse since she's arrived in the WNBA. That kind of story gained national attention. It was something that was debated on my day job, First Take, on ESPN every weekday morning from 10 a.m. to noon. And in the process of talking about that particular subject, one of the things that I highlighted was that Caitlin Clark's the golden goose. She happens to be a terrific talent who's white and very, very marketable. The combination of the two things make her the golden goose for the WNBA. Go after her, compete with her, get the better of her at every turn. Nobody's questioning that you can't go after her. But what I was saying was, although whether it's jealousy, envy, resentment, it's all justifiable because there were people that were pounding the pavement and going through so much to help elevate the WNBA's profile long before Caitlin Clark ever came along, and yet were denied that level of recognition and that level of appreciation. The bottom line is, since Caitlin Clark is the one here now, ride the wave. Rising tide lifts all boats, as they say. And that was the argument that I was making. And I was saying everybody ain't her. We ain't talking about it being fair. As my boy Jeff always says, fair is a place where they judge pigs. It doesn't exist. It's not about fairness. It's about reality. The reality is that the max contract in the WNBA at this particular moment in time is $250,000 to a player. Caitlin Clark is already committed to $28 million in endorsement deals, at least. Look at the wave that she's created. Look at the profile that it has granted the WNBA. Look at the record ratings they've produced because of her arrival. Once upon a time, they were watching about the audience in Indiana for Indiana Fever games was about 4,000. Now it's at about 16 to 17,000. The ratings for the WNBA draft was 2.446 million, which was the largest in WNBA history. The doubleheader that opened the season generated over 1.5 million viewers, which was more than the WNBA had accumulated in more than 2 decades. You have all of this stuff going on. Understand, Caitlin Clark is different. We ain't talking about fairness. We're talking about business. And when Angel Reese comes out and says, she ain't the only one everybody's watching, they're watching me too, they're watching others, a day later she gets ejected. I ask a simple question. I don't have an answer. I'm not pretending to have an answer. I'm not going to give you an answer. I'm going to ask you a simple question. If that's Caitlin Clark, does she get ejected from that game? I'm just asking. If it's Caitlin Clark, do you think that referee ejects her? You know better. You know better. So again, the golden goose is the golden goose. Go after Caitlin Clark, do what you got to do. Compete with her, take her down. Just remember, you want to lift her up too. Because as she rises, the whole league is going to rise. And everybody's going to benefit. And if everybody's benefiting, at some point in time, although it's frustrating that it took so long, and it's frustrating that it's being given to somebody who hasn't pounded the pavement and put in that time the way the rest of y'all have, in the end, if you all benefit, that's what matters most. Angel Reese is a terrific player who's going to be a star in the WNBA. I believe in her. She's not Angel Reese. She's not Caitlin Clark. Not as of yet. She's just not. And I understand Lonzo Ball for the Chicago Bulls coming out and talk about the ref that threw out Reese is weak. By the way, you know who you are. Keep your money, Angel. I got you. Big props to him. Don't blame him one bit. We all should have felt that way because she didn't deserve that ejection. That was BS. But in the same breath, the bigger story is that it came a day after she said, people ain't just watching the WNBA for Caitlin Clark. We know Caitlin Clark wouldn't have got ejected from that game. Not at this stage. She wouldn't have got ejected. We know that. So what does that tell you? You can be as frustrated as you want to. Get your shine. Elevate your cachet. And if Caitlin Clark is there to be used in order to pull it off, then use her to pull it off. Very, very simple. Very, very simple. Let's get to another subject before I move on to this James Harden soliloquy that he went on, answering somebody's question. Before I do that, I want to revisit something because over the last couple of days, I've been in the news naturally. First Take's been in the news. This show / podcast, we've been in the news over iHeartRadio, over the digital airwaves of YouTube and beyond because of my position that I just articulated about Caitlin Clark and what have you. And folks have even gone so far as to intimate that, you know what? When I talk about the subject, particularly when I ventured out And I got into subjects because it frustrated Monica McNutt, and it got other people involved like Chiney Ogwumike and others to speak up on behalf of the WNBA. And in regards to what I was saying, I'm going to reiterate what my position is in this regard. The ladies need to be supported. They've always needed to be supported. When somebody asked a question about doing more for the WNBA, and maybe I should have done more, like Monica McNutt said, yeah, but I also could have done less. There's a lot of people that weren't doing things for the WNBA before, in part because the WNBA's popularity wasn't nearly where it is now. It was trending in the right direction, but it wasn't where it is now. And so when you're in the news business or what have you, you talk about things that are pertinent, that are relevant, that the audience says it wants to see and hear about. That's what you do. But I also wanted to use it as an opportunity to highlight this point. There's a lot of people, and certainly not just me. There's a whole bunch of men out here who are incredibly supportive, not just of the WNBA, but of women's college basketball and women's sports overall. We know that there's a lack of appreciation. We know that you don't get the appreciation that you deserve. And we certainly know the numbers don't necessarily represent the level of appreciation you would like. You're talking about the average NBA salary or the average NBA revenue being over $10 billion just last year. In the WNBA's case, it was 80 to 200 million. So there's more progress to be made and what have you, and we get all of that. And everybody should be in on helping the WNBA and helping all of women's sports get to that place. But I will not apologize for saying this. Women should be at the forefront helping the ladies in all of women's sports. Because the NFL wouldn't be what it is if women didn't support it just like the men do. The NBA wouldn't be where it is if women didn't support the NBA the way that a lot of men do. Women, there is no better consumer. And when the ladies stand up and support something, it usually succeeds. It usually succeeds. So look at these ladies in the WNBA. Look at these ladies in college basketball. Look at the things that they're doing. Look at the ratings that Caitlin Clark generated. Look at the ratings that Angel Reese and Flau'jae Johnson and them generated. Look at what Dawn Staley is doing at the University of South Carolina. Look at what's happening in the WNBA now. Look at what Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird and Candace Parker, who's now retired, and various others are doing for the sport or have done for the sport. Ladies, just like we want us to help the ladies, you should help them too. I'm talking about the female consumer, because guess who can lift them to heights unseen? You, because you do it for everybody else. Anybody who's successful, by and large, in this country is successful because women support them. Let's remember that. Now let me get to James Harden real quick, because the 3-time NBA scoring champion, 10-time NBA All-Star, and 2017-2018 League MVP spoke just the other day. Ladies and gentlemen, everything that I just said about him, those are regular season accolades. The postseason is an entirely different matter. His resume has just one finals appearance back in 2012, the year he was 6th man of the year, while with the Oklahoma City Thunder playing alongside Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. Now, why do I bring all of this up? Well, Harden recently did an interview with Basket News where he discussed his legacy and how he wants to be remembered. Take a listen.
How do you hope the players and these fans outside, how do you want them to remember you after you finish? What do you want to them think about James Harden's name?
That I was a winner, that I was a teacher, you know what I mean, that I had a different love for the game, you know what I mean, like put the money aside, I really enjoy and love the game of basketball and playing it. So whether it's, you know, being with the kids, you know, here or, you know, when I travel, you know, other places in Europe, when I go to China, I just want, you know, people to understand and understand how much I really love and enjoy the game of basketball.
I hate having to tackle this subject because I'm fond of James Harden. He is a 3-time NBA scoring champion. He is one of the prolific scorers the game has ever seen. He was unguardable one-on-one for many years. in some people's eyes, still for the most part unguardable right now. But here's the reality. When he went to the finals in 2012 against the Miami Heat, he was a no-show. There was an APB out for him. Couldn't find him anywhere, not even in South Beach. When he goes to Houston, there were a few games in the postseason where, dare we say, the James Harden, the spectacular James Harden that we saw during the regular season, didn't show up, particularly in a closeout Game 6 against the San Antonio Spurs, where he barely wanted to shoot the basketball, other times where he just wasn't efficient and effective. A Game 7 against the Golden State Warriors where he didn't have CP3, but they collectively, the Houston Rockets, shot like 1 for 27 from three-point range. There's a bevy of evidence against James Harden. Forced his way out of Houston, forced his way out of Brooklyn, forced his way out of Philadelphia. Now, in some instances, he left money on the table. In one instance, he swears up and down he was lied to by Daryl Morey, the president of basketball operations for the Philadelphia 76ers. I get all of that. But in the end, here's the reality. As great as James Harden is, there are two things that come associated with his name as prominently as anything else. Number one, he's never won a chip, never won a championship. And number two, he has been accused of quitting on numerous occasions. When those two things are on your resume, or those two things are speculated about you, you can't go on an interview and talk about how you want to be seen as a winner. And dedication and all of it. It doesn't vibe. It just doesn't vibe. He's a free agent. He's still an all-star caliber player, although he's not what he used to be. But when you say something like that, we're looking for evidence that says you are those things. And we don't have anything that says that about James Harden. Winner, teacher. He said both things when that happened. I know he can teach. He's knowledgeable enough to teach. But where's the evidence of somebody that actually learned from him in a very positive fashion? Y'all know the answer to that question. I hate to say that because I don't root against him at all. I don't root against anybody really, but especially not him. But I can't defend that. I just can't. Coming up, one of our favorite actors had some things to say about being denied an apartment in Harlem, New York, of all places. I'll get into that and something else as well that I ain't about to tell you about. You'll have to tune in to check it out. Stay tuned anyway, right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show. iHeartRadio and the digital airwaves of YouTube. Back with more in a minute. Let me take just a few seconds to make sure everyone knows, all right? My favorite time of the year is finally here. The NBA Finals have arrived. And the best part is, PrizePicks has got you covered. That's right. While all the big games are happening, PrizePicks is going to help you cash in, y'all. You see, PrizePicks is a daily fantasy sports app where you can select two or more of your favorite players and then pick more or less on their projected in-game stats. But PrizePicks is not just basketball. Oh, no. It has something for every sports fan, okay? From the MLB and the WNBA to tennis or the NHL and everything in between. You can pick Ohtani, Angel Reese, Juan Soto, and Sam Bennett. All in the same entry, by the way. All in the same entry, okay? I make my picks and submit early, all in less than 60 seconds. And get this, PrizePicks will match your first deposit of up to $100. So that's right. Go to prizepicks.com and use code SAS, that's my initials, of course, in case you didn't know, for a first deposit match of up to $100. That's code SAS when you go to prizepicks.com. Pick more, pick less. Guess what? It's really, really, really that easy. Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here over the digital airwaves of YouTube and iHeart, by the way, iHeartRadio, iHeartMedia. I want to touch on a story that recently caught my attention. Award-winning actor Wendell Pierce says a family member's application to rent an apartment in Harlem was turned down based on race. This despite Pierce himself being a guarantor on the application. Pierce is best known for the roles on The Wire and Treme. He says that despite starring in 2 television series, a big budget film, and a starring run on Broadway, somehow the application was still denied. Pierce said he was motivated to share his story after a recent Appeals Court ruling blocked an Atlanta-based investment firm called the Fearless Fund from running a grant program that invests in businesses led by black women. Here's what he posted on X to highlight the larger issue of racism and discrimination. For those of you who don't understand my righteous anger, I'm on 2 TV series, Elsbeth and Raising Canaan. I'm filming Superman. 2 years ago, I finished the 4th season of Jack Ryan. Last year, I finished a run on Broadway in Death of a Salesman. Even with my proof of employment, bank statements, and real estate holdings, a white apartment owner denied my application to rent the apartment. In Harlem, of all places. Racism and bigots are real. There are those who will do anything to destroy life's journey for black folks. When you deny our personal experiences, you are as vile and despicable. End quote. You know, I wanted this subject broached because we're certainly not speaking about everybody. All white folks are that way. All white folks are not that way. All non-black folks are not that way. But the reality is that racism and bigotry and all of that stuff is alive and well. And you see the sensitivities heightened throughout our society because of the kind of climate that we're living in. And politics and what has been taking place in the political stratosphere has basically trickled down to everyday society. We look at the streets, we see the division. We look in boardrooms, we see division. We look in the workplace, we see division. We don't see unity. We don't see decency in a lot of places. A matter of fact, indecent behavior seems to be more popular than ever before. The level of tolerance for the lack of decorum, lack of professionalism, lack of decency and beyond has really permeated our society. At some point in time, we got to ask ourselves, what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? He brought that up because he knows that he's an accomplished professional actor who warrants respect and a core level of decency that most of us simply don't get. And if we're not speaking up about that, who will? If we look throughout our society and you look at some of the frustrations that are permeating, that's what everybody's talking about. I'm one of those people who firmly believes, you know something? Regardless of how heinous or insidious something is, if everywhere we look, we can point to that everybody is suffering the same maladies, we can deal with it. Because as a society, we'll rise up, we'll come together, and we'll say, hell with that, enough of this. And change will be made. The problem is when a group of people who are not even any longer the dominant minority in this country still finds itself subjected to the kind of nonsense he highlighted. Even when you got money, even when you got a bank account, even when you have a professional career, and you're dismissed as easily as he was, it does dissipate hope, which elevates frustration, which means things never get better that way. I keep telling everybody, society is only as great as its weakest link. Folks who are at the bottom and treated as such will ultimately find a way to make sure you feel their pain too. And they ain't wrong for doing so. We got to get it together. We got to get it together. Let me move on to another subject because this ain't no damn apology from me. Let me be very, very clear. But that doesn't mean this person doesn't deserve an apology. I want to give an update on a story that recently went viral. It was about a Michigan man named Corey Harris who logged into a suspended license court hearing via Zoom while driving. Shocking presiding judge Cedric Simpson, who ordered Harris to turn himself into jail by the end of the day. Please take a look at this because it was actually funny to me. Take a look at this, please.
Assistant Public Defender Natalie Tate for Mr. Harris, who should be present via Zoom.
Mr. Harris, are you driving? Actually, I'm pulling into my doctor's office, actually. So just give me 1 second. I'm parking right now.
You stationary?
I'm pulling in right now at this second. Yes, I am.
All right. So maybe I don't understand something. This is a driving while license suspended,
That is correct, Your Honor.
and he was just driving, and he didn't have a license. I don't even know why he would do that. So defendant's bond is revoked in this matter. Defendant is to turn himself into the Washington County Jail by 6 p.m. today. Failure to turn himself in will result in a bench warrant with no bond.
Listen, y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell y'all something. First of all, it said. Let me finish the story for y'all, ladies and gentlemen. Sergio Harris abided by the judge's order and spent 2 days in jail. That part is not funny. But days later, when he was interviewed by the news and was asked what was going through his mind, Harris said he was thinking about getting his wife medical help and that he did not care about the suspended license. It turns out, however, Harris's license had been reinstated in 2022, and because of a clerical error, neither he, the judge, or the court knew about it. Okay, fine. First of all, let me get the laughs out of the way, and let me tell y'all why I was laughing. We ain't laughing about the brother having to go to court, having to end up in jail. That's not funny. What was funny is that he thought he was driving with a suspended license. And while driving, he decides to zoom into the court hearing. And the judge said, let me get this straight. This is a suspended license hearing? Why would he do that? Why would he do that? His license is suspended. He's been reprimanded. Show up at the courthouse at 6 p.m., turn in your license or whatever. And then you saw him with his mouth open. Lean back. Oh my God. It was hilarious, y'all. I'm sorry, y'all. It was funny. It was a funny scene. Now, it's not funny that he spent 2 days in jail. It's not funny that a clerical error made all of this happen when it was completely unnecessary. A clerical error would have shown that he indeed did not have a suspended license. His license was reinstated. But neither he knew that, nor the judge, nor the court, which means that when he was driving and when he zoomed into the court hearing with the judge, he thought his license was suspended, but still told the judge, I'm pulling up to the office right now. Hold on, wait a second. Okay, good, I'm here. Well, damn, I'm sorry. That was bad. Now, there were people out there that said I owed him an apology or anybody else that took the position. No, the hell we didn't. He thought he was driving with a suspended license too. The judge thought he was driving with a suspended license. If anybody owes him an apology, it's the court. We don't, because he didn't even know his license was reinstated, which means why the hell were you driving with a suspended license? You're going to call into the judge and via Zoom. How come you didn't pull over? Why come you didn't jump into the passenger seat and act like somebody else was driving? What the hell is wrong with you? I stand by what I said. He was still foolish. Just unfairly placed in the position to look foolish. That's my take on it. Now let me get to the calls before I get on out of here, please. You can call me up 888-SAS-5303. That's 888-727-5303. Let's go to Taz in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Taz? How are you?
Hey, how you doing, Stephen A? How you doing?
I'm all right, man. Talk to me. What's up?
What's up, bro? So, I wanted to know, like, who did you think in your head is the best player on the floor with this NBA Finals we got going on this year?
I think it's Luka, but it could easily become Kyrie or Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. But Luka deserves the nod opening the series, absolutely.
Okay, can you elaborate?
What do you mean
why you say Luka?
Luka's scoring ability, Luka's ability to control the game, particularly the pace of the game. You can't speed him up. You can't dictate anything to Luka. Luka controls the pace. Luka steps out on the court and dictates a lot of action. He's big, he's strong, he can shoot, he can handle, he damn sure can pass, and he's a game changer. Did you see how he snatched the heart right out of Minnesota's chest in that game 6? Game 5 rather. Did you see what he did? This is what he does. We've seen Jason Tatum drop 46 against Milwaukee. We saw him drop over 50 against Philadelphia last year. We know Jaylen Brown just finished averaging 30 in the conference finals. Kyrie is spectacular and special. That dude, but even he is deferential to Luka in a lot of situations, admittedly so. That's why Luka would get the nod, but that doesn't mean somebody can't take it from him in this series. This series is going to give us finite answers on any questions of that nature, Taz.
Good question. It's just like we've seen this movie before as far as with the Celtics and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum being at the finals against the Warriors that one year.
Okay.
And if you recall, we talked before, and I had told you that, Jaylen Brown didn't have a hand, and you was telling me, like...
You said Jaylen Brown didn't have what? You said Jaylen Brown didn't have what?
I said that Jaylen Brown didn't have a left hand. You were saying he's not like Clyde Drexler. But what I'm trying to say is that if they lose this NBA Finals this year against the Mavericks, do you think it's time to break up this core? Because it's been years now, man.
It might. It's worth consideration. I wouldn't say it definitively. I got to see how they perform first. But I don't blame you for answering that question, bro. And remember, all I said was he's no Clyde Drexler. He got a left hand that's better than Clyde Drexler. He's not a one-arm bandit to that extreme. But I get what you're saying, man, and I appreciate it. Thanks for the call, man. Let's go to Kobe in Grand Prairie, Texas. What's going on, Kobe? How are you?
I'm doing good, man.
Is that Texas? Is that Texas? Oh, you in Dallas?
Yes,
you in
sir.
Dallas, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm in Dallas.
I'm coming. Is Big D waiting for me?
Also,
is Big D waiting for me? Is Dallas waiting for me?
Oh, yeah. Oh, we waiting on you. We waiting on you,
I
man.
can't wait.
And I also want to say before I ask my question, I went to a game a few years ago with my dad who passed away 3 years ago.
Sorry to hear that, bro.
I remember saying what's up. I remember saying what's up to you, like near the tunnel. It was an NBA. It was a ESPN game against the Nuggets. You said what's up, so I appreciate that.
No problem.
I'll never forget that moment. So
my condolences for your loss of your father. Really sorry to hear that.
I appreciate that, man.
Go ahead, man.
So my question is just how big Kristaps Porzingis is in the series. Like if he's healthy, if he's fully healthy, how much will that affect the series? And do you think Jason Kidd will be able to make these good adjustments as he has been in the previous playoff series?
I appreciate the call. I would tell you this. Porzingis could determine whether or not Boston wins this series. Because him shooting the basketball from three-point range forces Lively and Gafford to come out and guard him. And if they have to come out and guard him, they're not rim protecting the way they normally do. And that could open the floodgates for Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum to attack. So I think that's very, very important to point out. We can't deny that. That's number one. But number two, in terms of Jason Kidd, he's going to start his offense about 10 feet beyond the three-point line, past, from the top of the key. And because he starts his offense out there, because of what Luka and Kyrie is capable of, it extends the defense, which opens gaps to be attacked. And that's what we have to pay attention to when it comes to Dallas against Boston. I think it's going to be a thrilling series, personally. I can't wait to see it. I appreciate the call, Kobe. Thank you so much. Last caller, Eric in New York. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Eric? Talk to me.
Hey, Stephen A. Appreciate you taking the call. I recently just got the beat reporter for men's basketball at Hofstra University.
Okay.
I'm a student there, and I was just, looking for some pointers because this is the first time I'm, a beat reporter for a men's basketball team for the college.
Okay, first of all, get to know the names of each player and each coach. Number two, get as much access as you possibly can. If you can watch practice, be there. If you don't miss games, exhibition or regular season and beyond, don't miss any games. Remember, when you're a beat writer, where they go, you go. That's the beat. It's your assignment, and it's your job to know everything that you can possibly know about the subjects you will be covering on a professional level. Their personal business is none of your business. But I'm saying as a beat reporter, you got to make sure that you're aware of anything, that nobody knows more than you do about that team, okay? Every single player, you know their strengths and weaknesses. Everything about the coach, you know what he likes to do schematically, you know what his definition of success and failure is. The competition that they're going to go up against. You got to make sure you lock in and zone in on who's their stiffest competition. What has been past success? What has been past failures? What's the reason for it? What are they trying to avoid or replicate walking into the future? All of those things come into play. And you also have to remember this one last point, and it's very, very important. A beat writer's position is not a 9-to-5 job. The beat is the beat. Whenever news is percolating about your beat, you are responsible for your beat. I don't give a damn if it's at 5 o'clock in the afternoon or 5 in the morning or any time in between or thereafter. Your responsibility is your responsibility when it's your beat. You are the resident expert on that beat. When somebody asks you a question, you need to be the one that has the answer. If somebody else has it better than you, that's in your profession, then they are doing a better job than you. Do you understand?
I appreciate it, Stephen A., and I'm excited. I'm excited to get going for Hofstra.
All right, my man. You take it easy. Appreciate the call. Thank you so much. Before I get on out of here, ladies and gentlemen, I want to go over. I'm going to come over to the big screen right now because I want to entertain your tweet before I close out the show. Oh, we're going to this screen. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that. They had me over here on this side. It's usually on that side, but hell, this is what having the studio is all about. So let's go to some of these tweets here before I get on out of here for the day, all right? At B_strong_, all right? Brother does have muscles. I'll give him that. Who will be the unexpected star for both or either team in the NBA Finals? The word unexpected, I would tell you this. Derek White for the Boston Celtics, I don't think we can ignore him. He's a game changer. He can hit threes. He can defend. He hit clutch shots. Remember what he did with the putback against Miami in Game 6 last year, the Eastern Conference Finals, forcing a Game 7 after they were down 0-3 in the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm talking about the Boston Celtics. Derek White is something to worry about. He's a difference maker. We can't ignore what he can bring to the table with him. As it pertains to the Dallas Mavericks, the name that comes to my mind is P.J. Washington. P.J. Washington is hitting over 40% of his threes from the corners. I believe if P.J. Washington is hitting his threes in this series, the Dallas Mavericks win the championship. Kyrie and Luka's going to need help. The other dudes, are they going to be able to provide it? That's the question mark for me. P.J. Washington is a big part of that equation. Next tweet. Let's go to this. At @HugHeart_Michael. Stephen A., best way to make a great impression in a job interview. Well, first of all, understand presentation matters. You can't go to a job interview asking somebody to invest time, energy, and money in you, and you looking like a bum. Your smell is off. You're a bit haggardy or anything like that. You can't do that. You got to look the part. Secondly, you got to articulate yourself. One of the things that absolutely positively pisses me off to no end is when I hear somebody talking, yeah, you know what I'm saying, you know what I mean? No, the hell I don't know what you mean. You didn't say anything yet. That pisses me off. It can't be any of that. It's no, you know what I mean? First of all, if you're going to say it, you're supposed to say, you know what I mean. Now, you know what I mean? You understand? You ain't in the street. You're in an interview. All right? So you want to articulate, you want to present yourself, and part of your presentation is not just how you look, but how you speak and how you articulate yourself. Know what you want. And most importantly, know what the person interviewing you wants. If you're going for a job interview, well, why are you there? What did they say they wanted? What was the position? What's the responsibility that comes along with the position? Have an idea of what that is. And when you have an idea of what that is, you walk into the interview and you make sure you're feeding the interviewer what the position is that they're interviewing you for. So you're armed with that level of information so you know that you're prepared to do what needs to be done. Remember, you're selling yourself. You're pitching yourself to a potential employer. Everybody's a name on a sheet of paper. It's up to you to make the impression. You have to do that. And in order to do that, mastering the subject at hand that's sitting before you while you're presenting yourself and having that conversation is incredibly important. It's incredibly important. Last tweet. Let's go with this right here. Good Lord, this is a long one. At Little Kenny P_23. My main man, Stephen A. Smith, me and my wife, sounds like a relationship tweet. Hold on. Me and my wife had an argument last night on who needs to wash the dishes more. I cook 85% of the time, and she still refuses to help me out and wash the dishes. Should I stop cooking so she realizes I need more help in the kitchen? Or should I just keep on sacrificing my time for her? Please advise. Kenny, I don't know your name. I'm assuming it's little Kenny, right? Popeye spokesman, right? My brother, not so fast. You being a little slick. Let me tell you why. You're talking about what you do. Well, what does she do? You said you cook 85% of the time. I mean, no disrespect. I'm not being chauvinistic here. I don't mind dabbling. I know how to cook lasagna. I know how to cook steak. I know how to cook chicken. I don't mind dabbling in the kitchen from time to time, but I'll be damned if I'm in it most of the time. You know why? Because I'm working, paying the bills. I don't have time to cook 85% of the time. If you cooking 85% of the time, are you a stay-at-home hubby? Is that what you do? Because if that's what you do, while she's out there working and she's paying the bills, then I don't have a problem with her not wanting to help you wash the dishes. Now, if she's not working and you are working, or if both of y'all are working and you still come home and you cooking 85% of the time, I'm down for you, bro. I support you 1,000%, if that's the scenario. But I find it a tad bit odd that you'd write this long-ass tweet, but you didn't tell me what she does. All you did was point out how she don't want to help you wash the dishes. Well, why don't she want you to help wash? Why doesn't she want to help you wash the dishes? Is it because she's tired from working? Is it because she's working just as much as you? Is it because she has just as much responsibilities as you have, if not more? That's the question. You didn't provide an answer to that. And if you didn't provide an answer for that, I find that a tad bit suspicious. I'm wondering about that. I find it very hard to believe this woman is married to you. She loved you. She pledged her life to you. You cook 85% of the time, and she's still saying, "Nah, I ain't helping you wash. I'm not helping you wash the dishes." I don't know any woman that would do that, unless she's obvious. She's shouldering a heavier burden than you. I don't know the answer to this question. You do. I'm just going by what you wrote to me. Tell her to write me. Tell her to give me her side of the story. And then I'll have a more direct, specific opinion for you. Last tweet. Let's go with it. Got one more tweet for y'all. Who? At RG, as in really good. RG Cheeseburger. Who makes the best French fries? Okay. White Burger King out of the way. Never liked their fries. McDonald's fries are really, really good. One of the things about fries, I don't like fries that, it's basically fried potatoes. It's too thick where you taste it more of the potatoes than the actual skin and the crunchiness with the ketchup that comes with it. Okay? I'm going to tell you, I'm looking at these, the waffle fries from Chick-fil-A, I can't sleep on. Okay? These right here, I don't know who this is from. Who is this from? It looks like Nathan's, but I'm not sure. Who are these from? I don't know who this is from. Kentucky Fried Chicken, get it out. Portillo's hot dogs, get that out. All right? Okay? Get out a Burger King, wipe that out. Hell no. Cajun fries are so-so. I'm going to go with McDonald's and Chick-fil-A. Either one you can't miss. Chick-fil-A's waffle fries, yo, they're good to go. And McDonald's, I've always loved. But it can't be soft. It's got to be crunchy. If it's soft fries, it doesn't work. But if it's crunchy, I'm going to go with the McDonald's fries. Man, hold on. Should I bring my producer or my bodyguard on camera? They some big boys that like to eat. You know, my man B, I got 3 boys in here that together they about 600 pounds. Okay, these brothers eat. You know what I'm saying? You know, they strong now. They'll kick your ass, but they like to eat. They would know better than me, but I'm gonna leave them out there because they can't Rashad. They can't Rashad. So I'm gonna leave it be. We gonna go with McDonald's and Chick-fil-A, y'all. We gonna do that, because I eat those all the time, even though I'm not supposed to. But when you look as good as I'm looking, you can have a cheat day. We'll just leave it at that. That's it for this edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show. I'll be back to you right before, right after the NBA Finals, Game 1, tomorrow night at the Garden in Boston, TD Bank Garden. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, peace and love.